Good evening and welcome. My name is Rachel Epstein. I'm a professor at the Josef Korbel School, where I also serve as Senior Associate Dean. I want to begin by adding my congratulations to the award winners that we've seen tonight. Congratulations. And I want to emphasize that they really embody the values that we're putting forth here, dedicating their lives to education and also to creating a more just world. The next individual who we're honoring this evening, Secretary Madeleine Korbel Albright, also exemplifies these values. Secretary Albright was a remarkable leader, mentor, educator, author, and champion of democracy and human rights around the globe. And we are very privileged tonight to pay tribute to her and her legacy this evening. Please join me in watching this video.
You know, Madeleine was a beacon for women leaders. She exemplified her true commitment to women's empowerment all over the world. Madeleine Albright actually was a role model for the world, not just for America.
When she had been U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, she had created a convening of all the female ambassadors. I thought that was a kind of cool idea, and I said, well, how many were there? And she said, 7, only 7. And there were 183 countries at the time she was UN ambassador. She said, yeah, she said it was okay. She said we called it the G7, the Girl 7, for the ambassador from the United States to share her experiences in what was and remains a male-dominated world. That was amazing, equalizing.
She taught the world that women can be as powerful as men in foreign affairs. When I go into the Security Council and I'm sitting behind that placard that says United States, I sometimes think, what would she do? How would she respond to that? Because I think she set a standard that we have all tried to emulate in that position.
She was such a powerful force in influencing people. I would say women and men alike, but for the women of Kosovo, I would say she gave us wings. She also made sure that she brings us together no matter the differences that we had between political parties, between ethnicities, into one joint cause of empowering women. There's still a lot that we have to do, but a lot that we have achieved we truly owe to her.
Well, she used to always talk about coming to the United States as a refugee, fleeing a country that was repressive. She always described the ship that they took over to the United States, seeing the Statue of Liberty as you're coming to the United States for the first time. I mean, I can imagine the suspense to know whether or not you've been granted asylum, whether or not this can become your permanent home, or you will have to go back potentially to a country where you were not free. Much of the commitment Madeleine brought to democracy and human rights grew out of that sense of the United States as a refuge, the knowledge of what it felt like to be part of a family that was denied those rights. She never stopped seeing American foreign policy from the outside in, and that's immensely unusual, I think, in Washington or in any positions of power.
The people of Kosovo saw her as the founding mother of our freedom and our independence, the voice that spoke for us when we had no voice. She fought hard to make sure that democracies came together to bring us freedom, to bring us independence, and build the democracy and the independent state that we have today.
I think Madeleine left in her wake a space to talk about human consequences, to talk about individual dignity, to talk about the soul of the nation and the importance of standing with individuals, standing for human rights in the world. There's a way of talking, a way of debating, a way of being in foreign policy circles now that is much more cognizant of human lives, human consequences, and I can't imagine us having gotten to this place if Madeleine Albright hadn't raised her voice.
What I learned from her is about the power of relationships. And she created a group after she left her job as Secretary of State called her Formers. And these were former foreign ministers who had served when she was Secretary of State. And it was a very powerful grouping from across the world. And those relationships kept her engaged, kept her informed about what was happening in different countries. And it wasn't a working relationship, it was a friendship.
Faleminderit për kontributin e jashtëzakonshëm dhe ekzistencial për lirinë tonë, për pavarësinë tonë, për demokracinë tonë dhe për fuqizimin e grave, jo vetëm në politikë, por në çdo segment të jetës në Kosovë.
She was such a powerful presence. She carried so much power and authority in that small frame. The room kind of spread as she walked through the door.
I think she was immensely savvy and pragmatic, so to reduce her to being merely an idealist would do her no justice. But there's no question the combination of her compass and her North Star, which were those ideals, and then the immense savvy and sophistication she brought to advocating and executing those ideals. I mean, that was the power of Madeleine Albright.
Extraordinary indeed. As a continuation of Secretary Albright's legacy, I'm delighted to announce that the Korbel School, in partnership with Wellesley College, has established a new initiative, the Wellesley Korbel Albright Fellows Program. Secretary Albright, as some of you may know, was a graduate of Wellesley College, as is tonight's keynote speaker. And during her lifetime, she established the Albright Institute at Wellesley to support the study of global affairs. Working with the Albright Institute, this new fellowship program will allow Wellesley undergraduate students to continue their education with a one-year master's degree at the Korbel School. The first entering class of Albright Fellows will arrive here at the Josef Korbel School in the fall of 2024. We are honored to fulfill Secretary Albright's vision of building an educational bridge between Wellesley College and the Josef Korbel School of International Studies. So another person who is working to build educational bridges is the 19th Chancellor of the University of Denver, Jeremy Haefner. As Chancellor, Dr. Haefner has sought to expand how we approach education to prepare the next generation of leaders to meet the challenges of our time. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Haefner to the stage. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And again, congratulations to our marvelous award winners. It's a delight to share in your honor, and I know all of us are so proud of what you have accomplished here. I'm so grateful also for all the students. You could hear them when our teaching award was announced as well. So well done, students, well done. We are incredibly proud of the Korbel School of International Studies, its students, its faculty, its alumni, and tonight is a cause for celebration in so many different ways. They exemplify the core of what the University of Denver stands for, a deep commitment to serve the public good. Now, a wise man said to me a long time ago, when there are interesting people with interesting ideas, and you're not one of them, get the heck out of the way. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm thrilled to introduce friend and alumna of the University of Denver, Bronco's co-owner, director of the Hoover Institute, and the 66th U.S. Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. Please enjoy the video.
Good evening. It is an honor to welcome you all to this very special Korbel Honors event, and an even greater honor to introduce my friend and colleague, Secretary Hillary Clinton. Secretary Clinton served as the 67th United States Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013, as a United States Senator representing the state of New York from 2001 to 2009, and as the First Lady of the United States from 1993 to 2001. She is the first woman elected statewide in New York. In 2016, she became the first woman to top a presidential ticket for a major party in the United States. And although Secretary Clinton, my friend Hillary, and I have served in different administrations, belong to different parties, and live on opposite sides of the country, we were both blessed to follow in the footsteps of our nation's first female Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright. Although Madeleine did not attend the University of Denver herself, she was nonetheless a great daughter of DU, as her father, Josef Korbel, was a longtime DU professor and the founder of our Graduate School of International Studies, for which he's now the namesake. I first heard about Madeleine from Dr. Korbel. He told me that he had this daughter who was studying at Columbia with Zbig Brzezinski and that he hoped we would meet someday. Well, meet we did. And I have to tell you that it was in a very funny way. Madeleine was working for the campaign of Michael Dukakis. And she called me and she said that Governor Dukakis needed someone to help him with foreign policy, and would I be interested in serving on that committee? I paused. There was frankly a long pause. And I said, Madeleine, I'm a Republican. She kind of shrieked, how could that be? We had the same father. Well, indeed, we did have the same intellectual father, Josef Korbel. And I am so grateful that Madeleine and I were able to become friends and colleagues and do so much together. And like many of you in this room, I miss her very, very much. And so I'm just thrilled that this year's Korbel Honors event is held in tribute to Secretary Madeleine Albright, a fearless fighter for freedom on behalf of all people and a trailblazer to women everywhere.